up? I'm Devin Wallin with Roberta's Gardens, and my roots in the gardening world run deep, 4 generations as a matter of fact. And I'm here today to talk about climbers, plants that climb and create beauty above the surface of the ground. When it comes to gardening, every garden needs to have ground covers, you gotta have some flowering shrubs, probably a few things that are fragrant, and you gotta have climbers, because when you start to think of all of the different dimensions where we can add plant life, like this climbing clematis, that's how we increase the beauty and the lushness and the nature in our gardens. So first things first, if you want to grow some climbers, you got to have a nice pot of soil, or you got to have a nice area of your garden bed where your climbers can actually climb. Now if there's nowhere physically for them to climb, but you still want to add climbers, you can always use a trellis. And as an urban balcony gardener, that's what I do. I love using some sort of mechanism for my climbers to climb on. So I'm going to show you 2 quick and easy ways to make something to climb on. First, you can do your bamboo stakes. These are super cheap. Get them at any kind of garden center or box store. Now, I always like to use 3. So I'll take my 3, 1, 2, 3, put them all together just like this. Then, take my rubber band, you want to make it tight, very tight, because you don't want your rubber band to get loose in the middle of the season and your stakes to flop away. So once you have your 3, take it and you can kind of just like do teepee style. You see how it's just kind of like teepee style, just like this. Try to make them as evenly distributed in the pot as you can, just like that, and push them down until they reach the bottom of the pot. Now that is a really super easy, fast, quick way. Another awesome way to create something to climb on is go forage in your backyard for some nice sticks that have fallen onto the ground. Make sure they're not like weak or rotting, and try to find sticks that are about the thickness of your first finger. Cut off all of the side branches just like this. So it's a nice clean, we call it like a spray. I learned this little trick from one of my favorite garden writers, Gertrude Jekyll from England back in the early 1900s. She was all about making your garden look as natural as possible. If it's too hard, maybe you gotta use your leg. Perfect. When it comes to gardening, do what you want. That's the only rule that matters. So now I have these 3. They're not very equal in size. So give me another try. So I have my 3 branches. Now clearly this is going to be a little bit shorter than the other one, but the process is the same. Got it. Perfect. I have my teepee. Let's see how it looks. And when you use natural items like this, well then the plant that you're growing is going to look even more natural, because this will totally blend in to the climbers that you're using. Alright, so I have my climbers. The reason I like the 3 action is because it's going to help create a nice full filled out area really quickly. So one of my favorite climbers, one of the best climbers for hot sunny areas, is Passiflora passion flower. So I have my 3 plants. Remember, always break the roots apart a little bit. And when you go to plant them just to the side of one of your stakes. Oh yeah, if you see, sometimes your brand new plants will have a little bit of moss on top like that. That's no problem. Okay, so now I have 1 planted. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start training it. Passiflora passion flower is really awesome for training because they love to climb. You got to give it something to climb, and they will vigorously climb it. So just like that. You can already start to envision how beautiful this is, how it's going to look on your porch, on your patio, on your deck. I'll plant the second one to the right side of this stake, and just help it to just kind of ease its way up there. And last but not least, break the roots up a little bit, get it in, and start to help train it. Now when it comes to training, you always want to train the plants going upwards. If I tried to take this branch and train it downwards, it's not going to work. You know why? Because climbers grow up. It's like their natural genetics. They're wanting to reach to the sky, reach to the sun. So if you try to train it down, you're not going to have luck. Always try to train it up. You can also try to train it slowly across and get a nice full filled out look that way. Anyways, I like to give my plants a nice training about once every 2 weeks. I'll go check out my plant. If there's any errant stems flying about, I'll take it and just kind of give it a little wrap. And if it's not ready to wrap, then don't worry, who cares? Oh yeah, don't forget, always make sure to water your freshly planted plants with some nice water. That was a little bit wimpy. Another one of my favorite climbers is the Clematis. This is a lovely climber that lasts for years. And when you start with a plant like this, now for a plant like this, I would have planted this one in the very center of those 3 stakes. And that way, so you can see, plant it in the center, and then I would take the stems and start to kind of climb them up. And then once it started to climb up, I would take this original small trellis out of the mix. Get rid of it, you don't need it anymore. Or you can leave it, either way, whatever's easier. And then within a year or 2, this plant will turn into something beautiful that looks like this. And you have that gorgeous vertical look on your porch, on your patio, climbing up that dilapidated fence or that ugly wall that you've been meaning to paint for 13 years, haven't gotten around to it yet. Use a climber instead. They're prettier, they're easier, and they're more full of nature. So that's what we want. Anyways, I'm Devin Walling with Roberta's Gardens. And if you like climbers and you want to learn a bit more about them, go to qvc.com and search Grow with Roberta's, and you'll find these beautiful climbers right there.